Good evening, everyone. This is Kara Elizabeth, aka Manifestor Kara, coming at you with this week's episode of Coffee on Transit. So, this week, the sun is moving through gate 21, the gate of cultivating personal power. It comes out of the heart/ego center, and we are transiting the earth in gate 48, and that is coming out of the spleen center. So, that is going to be a fear/intuition. Which we were in last week, so this is nothing new here. We're just transiting the spleen and all the fear centers at this point. So if you've got lots of fear coming up, just know it's transit, okay? And it's for a reason. But anyways, gate 48, it's all about depth, and it's a well of wisdom is how Jenna Zoe describes it. So these two gates are very, very, very near and dear to my heart and my soul. So the gate 21 comes out of my defined heart center. So this is something that I experience consistently, as well as like the heart center is a huge, huge aspect of my chart. So I've got the heart center defined with every single gate or channel coming out of that defined as well. So it's like a really big and prevalent source of learning for me in this lifetime that I've chosen. And then the gate 48, which comes out of the spleen, I have that entire channel, which is the 4816, and that is the channel that makes me a manifestor. So it's the only channel that I've got defined coming out of my throat. So you will notice that when I speak and communicate, it's through the tone of this 48. So it's through the tone of depth. And, and also with its programming partner 16. But so if you know me at all, you will know I speak, and my personality is definitely this heart center, gate 21, and the spleen, gate 48. Hands down, I am these gates to a T. So let's go ahead and just get on into it. And let me inform you of what we can expect through our experience this week. So I just want to say buckle up, because like I said, anyone that knows me knows that I'm quite feisty. And you will see this is where I get my feist. So gate 21, this is our main experience, transiting the sun, beginning today, is going through the next 6 days. So let's get cozy here, shall we? All right, Jenna Zoe describes the gift 21 as a person who is meant to take charge, both of themselves and others. So this is a big leadership gate here, okay? So taking charge of your own life primarily means that you came here to become financially independent and abundant. It is healthy, exclamation, exclamation, for people with gift 21 to be motivated by money, because it's part of your path in this life. So it's to give yourself every material thing that you could ever want. Period. Yes, please. It also means that you need to feel very in charge with the choices that you make for your own lifestyle. So whether that be with your wardrobe, your environment, your food choices, etc. These are not silly endeavors for you, as they are a part of you learning to master the material plane, which is a part of what you came here to do. And I can attest to that. Yes, yes, yes. I can tell you, out of all of those things, while all very important to me, the most important for me to have control over at any given moment is my environment, hands down. If my environment is not how I want it to be, not how I want it to look, if it's messy, anything's out of place. I mean, you have anything going on in my environment and I feel out of control in it, it's not going to be good. Let's just leave it at that. So I can definitely say that is absolutely this gate. Okay. Now, let's just move on. So in coming into feeling powerful yourself, this is when you can help others to do the same. So this is where this was like a big learning for me. And I feel like this is a big learning area for a lot of people, is communicating their needs. What do you need? This is where I learned to do that in this specific gate in my design, is that is a leader. You speak your needs. And of course, like this is a tribal gate. So it's like you're speaking your needs to not only benefit you, but it's also going to be like speaking of a need that is also going to benefit the tribe as a whole. So, which we don't really call it a tribe anymore, like we would call it a community. So whether, that community be, you being a student at a school, you being an alderman for a city, for a community. Community could be your church and the people that you go to church with. Like you're oftentimes going to find people with this defined in their chart serving in that capacity, because it's kind of like, on a subconscious level, people are just going to naturally know that this is like what you do, this is your specialty, and they're going to call you out on it. Especially like, we're meant to, like, this is a gate that is designed to learn how to master the material plane. And as a 3-5, that is also what the fifth line is here to do, is to learn to master the material plane. We're experts on that, or at least, trying to be anyways. So, all right, so that's enough of my experience, which I'm so excited we're transiting this week. Like, this is one of the favorite aspects of myself that is in my design, period. So, all right, Jenna Zoe, she explains how we can best flex this gift, and that is to get comfortable taking charge. Now, that was a big learning curve for me, okay? Because, it's like as a child, it kind of started as a child, like we always start out, doing this correctly most of the time. Children, they haven't really been conditioned to operate any other way than themselves. But of course, you've got the female working against you, and then you've got, you're a kid working against you, and you're not in a position of authority at that time, and your parents are. And so, this just, for me anyway, in my experience, this aspect got shoved down so far, and just like, being conditioned that me being in charge and me having control was not correct. You could see that as, moving into adulthood, I was always afraid to speak my needs because, I was taught that that was not okay. And I was afraid to speak up. I was afraid to, step into a position of authority because I had all of this resentment towards authority, towards, the authority itself. So it's like, if I resent authority, I'm like, of course I'm going to rebuke stepping into. So it was just like a whole big conditioning mess, right? But, eventually you just learn, and human design helped me to like further step into, and like, yeah, just like further step into this role that, like, hey, listen up, like you're designed to do this. You were born to do this. You are meant to do this, and this is not wrong. And like human design, like really truly helped me, um, really just accept that and help me get comfortable in it. So, anyways, how do we flex this? Get comfortable taking charge. People with this gift are very comfortable directing other people because that's what they're here to do. If you hate being told what to do by others, this isn't a bad thing, but it's the way that you're designed. Your lesson in this life is learning to become your own boss. So life is going to make taking other people's direction very unpleasant for you. So not only do I have this, I have being a manifestor. Don't tell me what to do. Or if you are going to tell me what to do, there's a way to do it, and it ain't telling me what to do. You kind of got to trick me by asking questions. Anyways, different story for a different time. But if you don't feel comfortable directing others, ask yourself what negative associations or fears you have about being in a powerful position. Understand that when done with good consciousness, it can only benefit other people. Directing others doesn't put you above them, it puts you in their service. And when you can see your role of power as the ultimate act of service, those discomforts of being in charge will completely dissolve. Yes, yes, so true. All right, so what can block this gift? And that is control. Okay, like control can be a really great thing. Like, I love being in control of my environment, but let's just dig into like what she says about this, because I've also experienced, you can be like too much in control and I could see where this would block it. So she says that the negative side of taking charge is being controlling. So it's kind of like if I catch myself feeling like I'm micromanaging other people or situations, etc., that right here is where I'm like in the lower end of this gate and where I'm like blocking myself from experiencing the full potential of this energy. So think of it as like if you're micromanaging, no, eh, okay. In the areas of life where you become obsessive, compulsive, superstitious, or controlling of other people, these are when you're using the gift in the wrong places and for the wrong things. The gift should be used to feel more sovereign and free over your own life and to guide others toward the same thing. So use this gift of directing people in the specific areas where you have value to give and refrain from telling them how to live their whole life. Your ego will push you to do the latter because it will tell you that you have all the answers. And your fear will tell you that you are safer when you're micromanaging everything. The antidote to this is to always return to the intention of service, to your duty and responsibility to steer a ship for other people with humility and a pure heart. That is who you are at the core. Oh, and I'm going to leave it on that beautiful note and not say another word about it. So let's move into how we're grounding in that energy. So how we're being supported in the gate of cultivating personal power, gate 21. Let's see. And that is gate 48, which is the depth and a well of wisdom. So this says you are a very deep human being if you have the gift of 48. You're welcome. You have a huge internal life where you feel things so deeply and you can tap into what's beneath the surface so easily. This is one of those gifts where it's easy to assume everyone is like this, but they're really not. You haven't had to work for this gift, and you probably don't even see how much of a gift it is yet, though it really is. Because of this ability to tap in deep, you naturally possess true wisdom, an intuitive understanding of how life's cogs work. This wisdom is a deep well, a limitless resource that others can come to whenever they need to develop their own wisdom. And one of the reasons you don't see the full scope of this gift is that wisdom and depth only comes out in the moment, when there's a need for it. Once something actually happens in real time, that's when the clarity drops in. Or when someone else has a conundrum, you catch yourself knowing what it's all about. It's in those moments that you can see what a highly developed EQ you have. But most of the time, you're highly unaware of this gift, and you can be plagued by this false belief that you don't have what it takes, that you are incompetent, and couldn't possibly accomplish what you desire to. So I can concur here with what she's saying, as well as someone who this is like one of my main, this is my main manifestor channel, what I'm constantly speaking of and constantly experiencing because it's so defined and it's so important to me in my design. It almost shows up in every single experience that I have in my entire life. It is always going to be there in some way, shape, or form. It may not be as prevalent, but there's always like this undertone in like my experiences, and like more of like my, I hate using the word negative because nothing's really like negative, but just for like the sake of the storytelling and understanding purposes, let's just say like I have a negative experience with something or whatever. And there's always this undertone of I'm not good enough, or I wasn't good enough, or I'm not worthy enough. There's always that shows up, this fear that I have. And that's where this comes from, is this gate, is this fear of not being good enough. So there's that. And so I can definitely attest to that. But what can immediately contradict this fear for you, though, is you might say or tell yourself, I'm not good enough for this, or I'm not good enough to do this, but you do it anyways. Like, it's okay for that fear to be present, okay? Because it's natural when you have this energy to find this is going to be consistent for you. It is for me. But what matters is you don't let that stop you from doing things. Okay. So that's where, it calls you into action of facing that fear. And for me, and like, I feel like sharing this with you guys because it may help in your experiences this week, is like for me, because this is so prevalent, I'm like constantly having experiences to bring this fear out in me. And so it's like I'm constantly overcoming the fear by doing what I need to do in these experiences and not allowing it to hold me back. So just be aware of that type of vibe this week because this is where we're going to be grounding. So just know that that's the key here. Okay. Now, how can you best flex this gift? Jenna Zoe says prioritizing your emotional development. So doing inner work and being in touch with your feelings and intuitions is a super important component to you achieving your purpose. It's like your secret weapon because those feelings are intel, which always contain guidance on how to turn something into something better. And then second way to flex this gift, which is pretty much what I just said, but she says it's facing your fears. So there you go. You're welcome. In the depths of every human being lies our greatest magic and our greatest darkness. They are locked in there together. The more we are okay to look at what our fears are, the more magic reveals itself, especially for you with the gift 48. The deeper you go, the more fulfilled you will be. Don't apologize or hide your depth simply because the world has taught you that emotional depth is counter to intelligence, as this will always keep you out of your kind of intelligence, which is innate life wisdom. So think of this gate as the shadow work, okay? I mean, really just think of the spleen as like a big shadow work center, and with us transiting the spleen and going through all the levels of fear that can be contained in it, just think like we're doing a lot of shadow work right now. Like we're transiting shadow work. This is required. Okay. This is a job requirement right here. So just know that, with the facing of the fears. And then, this gate being all about depth and going deep into things. So I'll give you another quick example. Hopefully I can be quick. Sometimes I'm not. It's fine. Whatever. Either you listen to it or you don't. But okay, so for example, how this is an example of how this shows up for me in my experience. So I am so comfortable with people's darkness. Like, I have, and this is like a compassion center. This is where you can gain compassion and wisdom. Compassion is wisdom. But like, I have so much compassion for the underdog, for the rejects of society. I even have like compassion for murderers, serial killers. I will actually like some of the more famous ones. I will actually look up their chart and I'm not afraid at all. Like there's no fear, but I look up their chart to see like and try and like seek to understand like where are they operating from here, like, oh wow, like Ted Bundy, like he's got all these like channels that like supported his political career and that supported this and supported that, and whoa, I can see where he's operating out of his like third line here or fifth line, or I can't remember what he is, or but it's like you can just see like wow, in his experiences that we know of, that are reported on, you can just see everything. John Wayne Gacy, one of the only manifestor serial killers out there. Because I mean, hell, what fucking manifestor has the energy to kill anybody and clean it up? No one. So that's why there's not hardly any. But anyways, not funny. He was one of the only manifestors. So he like really interested me. But I've studied him and his design and listened to interviews that he's given, about like how much peace it brought him to do the things that he was doing. And it fascinates me. Like, the things that society would view in a nutshell, as society would view as being taboo, they fascinate me. And I know I have so much information and I can go so deep into that. And there's no fear there at all with it, of going deep into that darkness and being comfortable there. But now, where I'm noticing that from where I've been there so long and gotten comfortable and gained knowledge and wisdom and can have compassion for other people in that space of darkness and compassion for others' darkness, I'm noticing that I am feeling very fearful and uncomfortable with just the general population, with just normal people and interacting with normal, happy, go lucky, just normal everyday Joes. I have the hardest time. Like, you will see me be very awkward. And it's this fear that shows up because it's like, I've spent, it's like part of the deconditioning process. It's like where I was conditioned in how to operate in society, and it wasn't really true to myself and who I was. And so I spent all of this time, all of these years deconditioning and getting back to my authentic self. And then now that I'm on my authentic self, I'm having a hard time like reintegrating back into operating in society in general. So, this is kind of like the next level of fear for me in this space of like, now I'm fearing, almost fearing the lighter side, like the surface level. I fear surface level conversations. I'm fearing normal people because I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to talk about with them? I don't even know. I don't know what to do with these people. It's scary. And so, like, a lot of times I won't even interact with them. I'll like keep my head down or try and avoid conversations with people. So this is like super heavy. It's like, but now once I can find compassion in that space again, then, I've like overcome my fear. But like, what's the best way to overcome that fear? Keep putting myself in situations with normal everyday Joes and see what happens. So bless it. Okay, moving on. How to unblock this gift if you feel blocked in it. And Jenna says, don't let your mind convince you that something is missing in you. So when you have such a vast inner landscape, you can see the gaps and lacks so much more clearly. You also have no visibility on what you're capable of until you put it into motion. So ironically, being so deep can make you feel like you don't have what it takes. It's as if there are certain things other people possess that make them successful, happy, etc., that you don't have, which leads you to fear that you'll never get there yourself. So if you can look back at your life, you'll see that you always got the answers at exactly the right times they were needed. And this is the gift 48 at work. I can concur. Truth, truth, truth. Ding, ding, ding. And the more you can really see how this has always happened, then the more you will trust that you will actually always receive what it takes on the journey to set you up to succeed every step of the way. And now, if you know me, you will know that this has like been my mantra, okay, over these last few years, going through like deconditioning and studying human design. Been huge for me. I will repeat this to myself constantly when I get in this space of not feeling like I have everything that I need or have what it takes to do what I need to do or do what I want to do, is I will just repeat to myself, like, if I needed it, I would have it. Like, I was doing that like when I was single and I was trying to call in my partner. I finally just got to the space where I'm just like, I there's nothing I need to do here. Like, I think I just need to come to this space of acceptance that if I needed a partner, he would be here right now. But I don't need him yet, or it's not time yet, or et cetera, et cetera. It's just and then I'll repeat to myself, I always have what I need, because I do. I would start looking back at my experiences and realize, wow, every single time. Like, let me share one more experience before I end this conversation with you guys, and wait till next week or whatever. So, one more thing. So, my roof got damaged, and I needed a new roof. And my roof that I had on was about 30 years old. And so I was like really worried that insurance wasn't going to cover it. I mean, they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have covered a damn thing because the roof was done. It was done for, and I needed a new one. And of course, they only pay replacement cost value for that. So I was like, well, whatever. I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna give it a shot. I didn't have no $15,000 for a new roof. But I was like, you know what? Let me just file a claim with my insurance and see what happens. So let's just see what they pay for. And honestly, I was expecting maybe a few $1,000s, if that, right? But long story short, I had a dope ass person come out and give an estimate, and what they estimated, I ended up getting the entire cost of my roof covered. So that was like a prime example that I refer back to when I feel like my needs aren't getting met. And I remember that. I remember that time. Wait a minute. You thought you weren't going to have the resources to fix that roof, but look, some way, somehow, and it was crazy and shouldn't have happened, you had it. You got the resources. So that's what I go back. I always have everything that I need exactly when I need it. And I trust that to my core because I've seen it happen time and time again. So just take that with you if you want to into your experience this week in this transit. Like I said, this is one of my favorites aspects of my design and how I'm designed to operate. Definitely two of my favorites, two of the most important to me. So take that with you or leave it. Good luck this week, and I will see you next week. Bye.